but it's different circumstances that what happened to us as children, and facing, actually, I mean, working with people for many, many years now, we all deal with the same stuff, the basis of life, and it's abandonment, rejection, low self-esteem, lack of value. These are the things that all have to be worked upon, but it's different circumstances that these creep up.
So, yeah, good morning. It is Thursday, June 26th, 2025. 8:53 a.m. I do morning reports because my stream of thought normally when I wake up is what I want to explain to myself. Because during meditation, sleep, I connect to things outside this realm, this physical realm, a lot easier. So I hope to capture my stream of thought. Okay, so I called this the theory of thirds, and you know, it's ages old, ages old. The theory of thirds, and it's about, you know, how we have, as humans, always had a choice, and we were taught, trained, mind controlled, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's this or this, you know. But if you substitute or for and then you start to go, well, it's this and this, and you start to recognize there are an infinite amount of choices that we're being given as humans, an infinite amount of choices. But all of those choices are on the condition that it's this or that every time. It's not, it never is. And so the theory of thirds, for me, many times has come up in my life. And I was listening to a remote viewer, a traveler, an astral traveler this morning, who has helped me deal with my human experience in this world, this realm, this society that I've been experiencing, how to deal with my own being in that human experience, how to deal with my being. Because I was disturbed by many things in this realm. And most of them stemmed from within me. But there is an awareness of this theory that I've been shown so many times. I mean, I think Eric Blair, who had to change his name in order to put over his theory of thirds in his book 1984, which was written in 1948. It's quite a revelation when you really read the book, because it clearly defines the control system as thirds, you know, three separate power controlling, and there's the big word there, power controlling entities they're all run by one dark force. And they're presented in such a way that we create our own prison because of that. Hi, Tyler. So get me off my phone. This is a good one. Welcome to live chat. Tyler, fam, do you have any advice to get me off my phone? I think there's a button on the side that turns it off. So I'm getting distracted. Again, this is all part of the theory of thirds. Okay. Distraction is major. There are so many distractions in this human experience. So I'm going to read what I wrote this morning to my friend who is absolutely brilliant, and she explained in her words. And I'm not going to, actually, I don't know. I'm not of the same I explain it in different ways, but what she's explaining is very good. I explain what she's explained this morning in her way, and her way of dealing, because she's been attacked many times for remote viewing and for being the person she is, which is somebody who's bringing the light. Everything is frequency and light, right? Everything in this human experience is frequency and light. And we have to keep the light going. Anyway, here's my theory of thirds. The thirds theory seems to be correct. 1/3 have a deep connection to unconditional love. Another third are beginning to make that connection. And the final third are becoming disconnected from real light. And that light is love. When the disconnected can no longer feed off our love, our energy, our loosh. Loosh, look up the word loosh. It's a modern word describing, to me, the parasitic nature of darker people, like really people who are completely without compassion. Anyway, that's my interpretation. But if they can no longer feed off our love, our energy, our loosh, their power and influence over the other 2/3 diminishes. And I see that they are desperately acting out in an absurdist and ridiculous way. I see that third that believes in only their individual selves and the connected families of those individual selves, they believe that that's the more important aspect of life. Anyway, and they're without compassion, you see, and that's the thing that you can't be without. You can't be without love. You're born with it. Anyway, the way I see it, that third are and will turn on each other, and with their diminishing power, eventually they will leave. They will leave this realm because we're not feeding them. Then we can truly start healing ourselves. My friend, who is a great teacher, she showed me how to journey inside. Remote viewing can be done inside. It's all in our own energy, and that energy must come from that unconditional love we were born with. We forget, and then we remember when we die. So that unconditional love is all we come in with and go out with is on our human experience. but the unbelievable, unexplainable power of that unconditional love is what a lot of people have forgotten. So the 2/3 theory, people who believe that unconditional love is the ultimate power and it's within all of us. The other third who are just starting to become aware of that. And then there's a third that go, what a load of shit. I'm just going to go kill people. Because they're psychotic. They're psychopathic in many ways. Because of their many ways. And it's hard for me to say it because, I look at percentages and look at the people in the world, look at the people I've met. And I see people who are confused. So, I think they're the middle third. Let's say, there's a third that understand unconditional love and they give it different names and all that stuff, but they actually understand. And then there's a third that are waking up to that understanding, and that's okay. But there's a third that have been in control and will pit each of us against each other until they can get us into a fear cycle. And that fear cycle is good energy for them to parasite off. And they love it. They love being able to control us, like kids with toy soldiers. Most of the people who send people to war don't go to war. Theory, thirds. If you really want to understand this realm, read 1984. Read the novel. Don't just watch the movie. And don't just look at Cliff Notes. Read the whole thing. Before the darker, controlling forces of these evil parasites get hold of the publishing companies and rewrite them. I mean, apparently there's rewritten, published editions of 1984 already out in the world. That's how desperate they are to control us from the thing is, the knowing is that inner journey. So, yeah. And of course, artificial intelligence is a tool of that third, because they own the technologies that are now becoming more and more sentient, but they're artificial. You see, anything that has to announce itself as artificial is not real, you see. As a child, I can remember several things that I saw that were being sold to us that were artificial, artificial cream. But I like real cream. Um, you know, it's still the same. The thing is, people are going to lap it up because they've now made it so tasty. And I'm not talking about the cream anymore. They've made it so tempting, so tasty. I think Oscar Wilde put it probably best. What was his? I can resist everything except temptation. Again, with the distractions. I watch TV, I get lazy, I sit and ponder what I'm going to do next, and I, find things to amuse myself, which is great, but I try very hard to understand what it is that I have as a responsibility. And responsibility, there's another thing. It's like the word responsibility, the ability to respond. So if this realm prods and pokes me, I will respond, but I've got to respond out of my authentic self. My authentic self is the one that's connected to unconditional love. So I use compassion in order to deal with situations. I've witnessed recently on flat screens, mostly, but also in real life, I've recognized the lack of compassion in response to people complaining about the realm, complaining about the control system. Well, the same people who run the control system respond to the control system by being violent. Any violence to me is an anathema. I will not condone violence in any way. And the state's violence is part of the bigger picture of the controllers. So you just don't give them that loosh. You don't give them that opportunity to feed off you, to parasite off your violent energy. Violence is never a good response to violence, you see. Anyway, so theory of thirds. Be kind, be compassionate, be very aware of how much you can be shifted into, again, the thirds theory, the middle ground where they can still get at you. You see, there's a light side, there's a dark side, and there's a middle side. And the middle needs to be balanced. There is only you that can balance you. So you have to work on that balance. And if that balance doesn't understand and connect to unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness, if it doesn't connect to that, then you have more work to do. I love you too. Nyanja boy. I love everybody. That's the connection right there. It doesn't matter what other people perceive of your way of connecting to that ultimate thing you were born with. You connect to it in your own way, but that inner connection has to be kept alive. That has to be a real part of your modus operandi, your operating system within this realm. If you don't have that compassion and you don't have that connection, then you drift into that middle area where the other people, the darker people that are out there trying to control, and they're just nuts, right? They're just crazy people. They have no compassion. They have no responsibility. They don't give a shit. So if you're working with people who just don't give a damn about anything, then you'll know they're the wrong people, right? So you'll walk away. You won't give them your energy. You'll turn your back on them. All right. Anyway, I thought it was going to be a simple, short video, but it isn't. But look at the theory of thirds. And sure, it's okay to be like, you don't have to be the pious, I am the light, I am God. You don't have to be that. It's fucking, that's just BS that they're going to fill you up with. That's giving you the external idea of, it's the fools who say, I am God, that you don't want to be. No, you're on a journey through life with unconditional love as your power source. That's your power source, unconditional love. Okay, so you don't need to be wielding a sword. Find your pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. And I know there's lots of puns and jokes about that. But the point is, it is better to communicate love than it is to communicate the hatred that those that wish to control you want to feed off. They want to feed off your hate, your fear, all the negative emotions. They want to feed off that. They want to keep you in that place because that food is more nutritious to them. Hate, fear, all the darker emotions. That's what they crave to give us, so as we can produce energy for them to play with. They're just playing with, and they have no conscience. Look up the true definition of psychopath and sociopath too. I mean, it's a control. They crave control over others rather than control over self. They're the dangerous people. Narcissists. And I don't want to go around labeling. Sorry. It's like, because they shapeshift, you know. These people just change. Good news, I guess. Yeah, of course it's good news. It's always good news when you come from a place of unconditional love. There is no bad news. It's just awareness. That's all. Hey, George Allen. George Allen's a bagpipe player. He makes music. When he makes music, he makes sense. Sometimes he's cantankerous and prods and pokes. Anyway, the prodding and poking of us, nah. Stay away. Doesn't need it. I know my place. Quosum. Cuse him. I hear voices. Good. Sing. Sing with those voices. Make sweet music. That's right. I hear noises. I don't know. Whatever. All right, that's it. Love and light. Love, live, life. Unconditional love. All right. Sing. Dance. Celebrate this lovely human experience. I love you all. Good routine. If it was an act, it would be a routine. And I'm not in a routine situation. Routine is... sometimes routine can be... It's just George said good routine. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is a good routine. But, you know, I love life. And I'm going to get on with it. All right. But look at the theory of thirds, and also read the book by George Orwell. Look at it seriously. Look at what the meaning is. We are never going to understand our human journey until we start to recognize unconditional love, compassion, and the connectivity with this abundant planet that we live on. It does apply for us, you know. And sure, there are dark forces that want to eat, loosh, feed off us. Just don't feed them. Don't feed that dark energy. If you feel dogs are barking. If you feel like the control system is holding you down, how do we not feed it? We operate from compassion. It's quite simple. We don't think of ourselves as any less than anybody else. That sense of lack that we were all seeded with. Oh, I wanted more. No. You were born with everything. Your power is so unique to you, but at the same time, it's an all-encompassing power. It's unconditional. There are no conditions on that love. All right. So be unconditionally loving, caring, and live love life. That way they can't feed off you. Because what they feed off is you in fear. So I'm not scared of anybody. Any human being can come up to me and we can have a conversation. But as soon as I see their anger, their ire, their violence within them, and they come at me with that violence, it's time to walk away, because that's the wrong people to deal with. You can't fight fire with fire. You just have to fight it with love. Love extinguishes all hate. All right. That's about it. I love you, everybody. I love you, George. I haven't seen you for a while. I'll look out for you on my journeys around the area in which we inhabit. Yeah. How do we find this love? It's inside. You're born with it. You were actually born with that unconditional love. And you will die with that unconditional love. That's why your human experience is an arc of forgiveness. We have to forgive forgetting ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves. Don't forget. Forgive ourselves for operating within this realm in a way in which we have been manipulated, and try and remember that what you were born with was unconditional love. You came into this world, and then this world just attached itself like a limpet, like a barnacle. How do we clear the hate away? Yeah, that's a good one. You have to sever the ties with those that promote that hate in you. And that might mean a very painful walking away. I had to do some painful things in the course of my life and walk away from people that wanted to feed off me. And I don't allow people to feed off my energy. They have to make their own energy from that unconditional love. So it's happened to me a few times, but there is another way too, and this is the better way for me. To clear away the hate is to actively choose compassion, to actively choose the compassionate way. And it's hard, but you're going to have to forgive those that harmed you. That's the really tough thing for many people. See, we have to forgive, not forget. So that's a bad phrase. It's not forgive and forget. You forgive everybody. I believe forgiveness is the key. I mean, it's in most self-help and religious groups and all sorts of ways of dealing with this human experience, but it's always forgiveness. And then that can be transmuted. If you forgive yourself and you forgive others, you can then alter self into a more compassionate human being. Forgive yourself. Oh, yes. Oh, for sure. Were you led astray? Of course. The moment you come into this world with unconditional love, there are conditions put upon you. And if those conditions are in any way stunting your growth as a human being, I mean, really stunting them and controlling them, then there's a built up of resentment for that, and you resent it. And then you start looking at who was bringing in these restrictions, and you look at the individuals in your life, because you have a very small family when you're tiny, when you're first born, and you look around you and you go, God, my parents were so controlling. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Forgive your parents. No child comes with a manual. They were doing the best they could. So forgive yourself for blaming them at first, and then recognize that if you forgive them, you're forgiving yourself, and you continue your life. Forgive yourself, forgive others, continue on. But don't work with the people that are constantly trying to control you. If they're constantly trying to control you, constantly, I mean, just like eating off you, biting chunks, oh my gosh, just, nah, that's not the people you need to be around. All right, good session. Love might have many forms. Love does have many forms. Love, and this is like, to me, this is the distortion of the only overarching love, because there are many forms. It's the distortion of the one love. The one love. You know, I mean, try and play a version on the bagpipes of One Love. One Love was a great song. The one love, the unconditional love. You know, so if you look at the overarching unconditional love as being the one that spawns all the other loves in our lives, you know, there are other loves. I think the Greeks, one of the Greek philosophers, I can't remember who it was, said there were 9 different types of love. But, you know, that's just study. That's something you can study. But it's the feel. It's like, do you feel that you are loving enough? Okay. All right. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Thank you, George, for popping in. And, you know, I have to get on with the day now. But my theory of thirds is just acknowledgement of my experience, really. And my experience is 2/3 are fine. 1/3 is trying to control the others. That's not it. You missed that part. Okay. I don't know if you read books. If you can find an older version before these rewrites and these new editions, but if you can find an older version of 1984 by George Orwell, wasn't his real name. He had to hide that. There's an explanation in there about thirds, about the way the world is run by a few control. I mean, they give it one name, Big Brother, but it's not Big Brother. It's a control system, right? And if you can separate the world into thirds and have 2/3 fighting 1/3 all the time, and then change who that is, doesn't really matter. What's our common enemy? Ourselves, really. So, no books. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason why there's a Trinity, I can watch back later. Okay. Well, yeah, if I post it, but sometimes it doesn't let me post these live ones. But we can talk. George, you know my number. Give us a call. All right. Cheers then. Lots of love and light in your life. Let the light in. Let the love in. Let it in. Stop blocking it. All right. That's it. Live, love, life. Cheers then. Bye.